JJ the CPA here. PPP forgiveness, the Paycheck Protection Program, is going to have a tax effect. I'm going to let you watch the videos that I've put together related to this just in the last couple of days. If you're thinking, wait a minute, PPP has a tax effect, the answer is yes. But I'll let you watch those other two videos. FYI, we're coming out of an ice storm. Probably going to hear a little bit of activity going on, but I need to shoot some videos. Got my hat on, rustic today. So here's the thing to note, is that some CPAs and some that are really kind of on the same wavelength with me and really trying to maybe plan for all these variables that are going on related to PPP forgiveness and the timing of it. And again, if you're needing more background to this, check out the videos where I'm talking about the tax hit related to PPP forgiveness, which in a nutshell is whatever's forgiven from PPP, what you use that for is going to reduce down your expenses on your tax return for the employers, not for the self-employed. So you got questions on that, I'm going to put links to those videos, but I need you to watch those videos if you're going to have questions about that, just because I feel like I've answered them. So what we're talking about here is, well, is it better to do that in 2021 or in 2020? And the answer is, by golly, who knows? Because every single client is going to have a set of circumstances that are different. But let me just lay out three scenarios for you if you're thinking the same thing, meaning this, that the way the IRS has interpreted it now is that in the year of forgiveness is when you recognize the adjustment for tax purposes of the reduction of your expenses. So if you get the forgiveness this year, then the way that reads is that you would reduce down your expenses this year as in 2020. If you get forgiveness next year in 2021, then you would recognize that adjustment, the reduction in expenses in 2021. However, the IRS addressed this at the end of April, early May. We know there's been a ton of updates since then, including more money coming out. We know PPP2 is coming out. So where I'm at on this right now is that I do feel like the IRS will further clarify. I do feel like right now, given that here we are at the end of October, that the SBA really didn't literally determine forgiveness on any SBA PPP loan until a couple of weeks ago. There's going to be the majority of those that got PPP not getting a determination on forgiveness until 2021. I mean, if I had to put a number to it, I bet it'd be 90% of those that got PPP won't know until 2021 if they got any forgiveness. So when you're then looking, it's like, well, shoot, should I hurry and get my application in so I can get a determination this year? Because do I want it to stick in 2020? Do I want it to stick in 2021? So we have a scenario that here on, October 29th, we don't know who the next president is. And the reason that's important, as being brought up, is, well, are the tax rates going up? Well, from my vantage point, even if they do go up and they go back to historically what they were during the Obama administration and during the Clinton administration, that'd be a 39.6% tax rate at the top. So it goes up 2.6%. For my clients, kicking the can down the road, and you got to remember, I'm advising on my own clients. I think we can deal with that aspect of it. I think we can better plan for things if we are kicking it to 2021. I don't think the IRS in scenario 2, if you put in your application in 2020 and you get the forgiveness in 2021, I don't think the IRS is going to then require actually for it to be in 2021 as the second scenario. So from the standpoint of the forgiveness being stuck in one year or the other, I think that ultimately the IRS may have to have it to where you're able to, in essence, choose. Now, if I were to put my money down, I bet they would say, no, it's got to be in 2020 because that's the year that you expended the dollars. Therefore, that would be the year of the reduction of expenses. We just don't know right now. October 29th, don't know. So that's the other variable. The third scenario is This year may have really sucked, right? Because of the obvious. So this might be a better year in 2020 to have a negative tax adjustment, meaning a reduction in your expenses, because you might be in a lower tax bracket or you have less income, hopefully rebounding into next year, you'd have higher income. And so even if there is not a presidential change, or even if there is a presidential change and the tax rates don't go up. So just forget politics. Let's just say the tax rates at the individual tax level, because we know S corps and partnerships, that's taxed at the individual level. But if you're in a set of circumstances where maybe you feel like this year sucks, next year's going to be better, meaning you'd have less of a tax burden. And if next year's in full force, so you're going to have a higher tax burden, then yeah, it would make sense to have your forgiveness fall into 2020. So all I'm saying on this, though, is that I'm not changing my tune in any way, shape, or form. I think the benefit is to wait. There are too many variables here. I think the variables that we're going to be dealing with, they will continue to work in our favor. I don't see at all that the IRS would stick with, because they're not going to really be able to do it, because I can argue it all day long with the fact that you have to recognize the forgiveness in the year of forgiveness, because 90% of those that got PPP surely are going to get the final determination from the SBA in 2021, starting with the bank has 60 days to make a determination. Many banks are not even taking applications currently for forgiveness. And then the SBA has 90 days. So even if you put it in today, even if your bank told you tomorrow and they got it into the SBA is probably still not able to make a determination. So what you need to do is not panic in any way, shape, or form. Zero panic here, zero concern. I've not changed my tune at all. So here's how I'm glad you made it to here. Here's how I approach, after going on 28 years of practice, here's how I approach when there's so many different variables. And the variables that we're dealing with, the outcome that I'm anticipating, the advantage is to wait to reduce down the variables. By putting in application now, I'm locking myself into something for 2020. By waiting, I feel I'm allowing myself to have more advantage. Now, CPAs typically, EAs, enrolled agents, tax professionals, they're maybe going to take a more conservative approach as, well, no, we better get in forgiveness right now. But the thing to note is that there's no way that that applies to you per se, unless your CPA is visiting with you about it. I think they have to give us, with over nearly 28 years working with the tax code, the IRS is going to most likely put it to 2020 regardless. I think any CPA would agree. Most likely the IRS is going to say, nope, the adjustment's to 2020. By waiting and putting it where the result is in 2021, we're leaving the option open. So my gut is the IRS is going to say, it's stuck with 2020. So what's the hurry in applying? If we put it in 2021 and the IRS goes, nope, we're going to have to adjust it in 2021. Well, now I've got, a whole year to plan with that client, versus the issue we're dealing with right now is, well, what do you do for fourth quarter? What's due January 15th? What's due April 15th? I think these variables will come to an end at least by the end of March 2021, because April 15th, people have to make a number of decisions. So when I'm balancing, well, should this fall in 2020 or 2021? Depends on the client. If I'm wanting to give the most options, I don't want to lock only into 2020. So waiting, I feel very confidently it would give me the option of both years, even though I feel like the final result will be it's put into 2020. So why hurry and file now and put up with all the malarkey that the bank may put into play, versus just, well, might as well wait. If I feel like the IRS is going to stick it to 2020, then I don't have to hurry and get this done at all, by giving the advantage of going into 2021. Now, qualified business income deduction, whole different set of circumstances that I'll save for a future video, because qualified business income deduction is Code Section 199A, which is just a whole different galaxy. I'll just say this. I don't think the PPP adjustment, and I'm sure there's going to be some, their heads are going to blow off right now, but the heavy research that I've done, okay, based on what we know now, the PPP adjustment will not affect qualified business income because it is a tax adjustment. It is not a trade or business adjustment. Now, heads will blow off right there, but I'll tell you this right now. I would argue to be a top 5, top 10 expert in the country on QBI, on how many hours I've researched and how many hours I've taught it. And so I welcome some lively discussion related to QBI. And if you're a CPA, just email me on it, jj@jjthecpa.com. As of right now, I'm not going to give you my research, just to be honest with you. We're going to wait till we get some more IRS. But all I'm saying is, again, the discussions or comments that talk about, well, wouldn't it be better in 2020 versus 2021? With all the variables, it's better to wait, because with more information, we can make a better decision. And I think that the information that we're missing, we may have more of it come November and come December. But the biggest thing I'm confident of is that the IRS, one of two ways, they're going to force it to be in 2020 adjustment, which in who cares when you apply, or they allow you to go 2021 or 2020. But the only way you would have the option of 2021 is to ensure that you submitted and got forgiveness in 2021 based on what we know now. So other speculation is awesome. The speculation that I'm telling you about right now, looking at this full circle, looking at everything, and for my clients. So you do need to take a look at the videos that I've talked about this. I'll put the 2 that I think most are related to this video for you to have a link to if you'd like, that I've done here in the last week. So you know what? This is a deep dive discussion. And if this draws questions, I wouldn't worry too much about it, because this might be more directed towards those that are the tax professionals, the EAs, CPAs. And I know there's business owners out there that really are able to know specifically how taxes affect their circumstances. And then, you know, really for the self-employed, the advantage to waiting, okay, doesn't apply to any of these things I just talked about, which I've talked about in other videos, because it's not taxable either way. Now, I've got a video where I'm going to talk to you about, well, what if you have a self-employed with an employee? But for the self-employed, Schedule C for 2019, line 31, divided by 12 times 2.5, that's just the forgiveness amount, period. So it doesn't matter if it's in 2021 or in 2020. The benefit for the the benefit for the self-employed person to wait would be, is there just an automatic forgiveness if your bank's giving you a hard time, if your bank doesn't understand what it is that you actually have to provide. So in this video as well, I'm putting in the link to a video I did for the self-employed showing that you're not an employee. So for the self-employed, the reason to wait is if your bank doesn't get it, if your bank is giving you hassle, put it on hold and wait. The other is, will there be some easier, more automatic forgiveness for those that maybe didn't get quite the right amount? Maybe they got a little more. So yeah, a lot of variables on this, ton of variables on it. So what do you do when you've got a lot of variables? At least for me, what does JJ the CPA do when I have a lot of variables? Hold my position until there are less variables to make a more concrete, confident decision. So if you're visiting with your professional and they have a different conclusion, they feel you need to file now, I would urge you to follow their advice from the standpoint of if they have a reason, not just, oh, we better do it. Or, oh, the IRS is going to want you to do it, or, oh, the SBA. I mean, the professionals that bring emotional tactics to it, I don't respect. If you're giving advice to your client as a professional, it should be pretty unemotional. It should be pretty much concrete in some numbers. So if your professional has that, well, no, here's why I think we need to do it from the numbers, how it's going to benefit you numbers wise. well, then do it. And guess what? I'm just a guy on YouTube. I am a certified public accountant. I do have a duty to make sure the information that I'm providing is as accurate as I know, but your professional is going to know you better than me, obviously. So with all that being said, just throwing out a little bit of additional commentary related to this. All right. Hey, thanks for tuning in. Love it if you'd subscribe. And then don't you ever forget, you've never met a CPA quite like me. Have a great one.